It is utterly repulsive. It is completely unacceptable, disgusting. It is an act of war once again, but Israel gets to do it. Let's get to what happened earlier today.
Taking out the terrorist organization's leader, Hasan Nasrallah. We still don't have any confirmation, though, whether Nasrallah has been killed or not. Rescue workers are responding to the scene right now in southern.
And by the way, in terms of like killing Hasan Nasrallah, what a lot of these people fail to fucking recognize, okay, from where they're standing, is that someone else will always fill the void, okay? It doesn't fucking matter if Yahya Sinwar is assassinated. It doesn't matter if Hasan Nasrallah is assassinated. These are not people that are like, I mean, they're very smart tacticians, okay? You might not agree with their methods. You might not agree with their worldview. I certainly don't in terms of like their own personal domestic affairs. But ultimately, they are smart tacticians. They're very well read. Overall, though, there's going to be another person that replaces them. You might put a stay on the resistance. You might soften the resistance for a brief moment. But ultimately, if you continue pummeling these fucking areas, there are going to be new Hasan Nasrallahs propping up. There are new Hasan Nasrallahs right now. Okay? Smart tacticians, a unique way of saying coordinating terrorist attacks. Dude, stop doing this, okay? You can't do this while we're watching the fucking smoke in the midst of Beirut, okay? Like, your understanding of terrorism and my understanding of terrorism clearly is not the same. You literally simply just say, oh, they're the brown guys, they're the Muslims, they're the terrorists, they're the bad guys. Stop with this fucking idiotic black and white, incredibly fucking infantile understanding of the situation, okay? God damn, dude. Oh no, it's you don't understand. Terrorists are the bad guys, and our allies are the good guys. Duh, obviously. They're the good guys no matter what they do. Even in this circumstance, they're the good guys, right? Because they're targeting the bad guys. You are a baby-brained liberal dipshit if you genuinely believe this. Okay? Yeah, you can't level 6 apartment buildings in the middle of a fucking 2.5 million population, dense metropolitan area in an entirely sovereign nation, and then turn around and be like, actually, the guys who were in the midst, like inside of those buildings, they are the terrorists. Like, you can't say that, you know? Or you can, and you can say that in American media. You just can't say that here and not expect some kind of fucking retaliation, okay? There are human beings in those buildings. They are now dead. There are people in this community whose family members live in and around the vicinity. There are community members in my community that live in and around the vicinity. You're a fucking animal if you think that this kind of attack is justifiable, okay? And I don't care about what some other goddamn content creator said about this, okay? Don't bring this shit up unless you want simply drama. Like, I don't care what fucking Lonerbox said, okay? Why the fuck would I ever care about that? What is wrong with you? I'm doing news coverage. You want me to fucking go yell at some random fucking YouTuber, man? What the fuck? Who looks at one of the worst escalations in terms of like regional conflict in this area with the death toll increasing by the hundreds overnight and goes, I wonder if I can get Hasan to respond to some random fucking dickhead on YouTube about this issue. Okay? Jesus Christ. Fix your fucking brains, man.
Southern Beirut, where they are evacuating the injured, also retrieving the bodies of those that were killed in the airstrike. You can still see the plumes of smoke from where that strike took place. Our foreign correspondent Marcus Moore is in Beirut, along with our contributor and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for the Middle East, Mick Mulroy. Marcus, let's start with you. We're just learning that Benjamin Netanyahu is actually cutting his U.S. trip early now. He made his speech this morning at the UN. So I'm assuming it's to get back with the news of what might have taken place here. We still haven't confirmed the death of Nasrallah, but clearly, if he is dead, this is going to be a huge story.
Yeah, this explains why I got 3 different posts from people in the U.S. military eating lobster. The U.S. is prepared to deploy. Yes, they have already. They have already. They're already in the fucking surrounding region. They're aware of what Israel is doing, and they're geared up and ready to go, okay, to defend Israel.
Yeah, a huge story, no doubt, Kira. Major development happening here in Beirut.
And also remember, we're not just giving them the bombs to do this. We are also supplying them with surveillance. Like the United States of America, okay, your taxpayer dollars are literally paying American airplanes, surveillance aircraft to surround the region and offer new bombing targets to the Israeli military, which then turns around and uses our fighter jets to drop our 2,000-pound munitions. Okay? So when Biden says, oh, man, this sucks. What are we doing here? Oh, man, how are we going to do this? Like, what's happening here? Well, we got to stop Israel. Like, it's fucking bullshit, okay? They are not only not restraining Israel, they're also supporting Israel. They're funding and facilitating Israel. They're giving Israel. They added a $9 billion additional defense package to Israel literally 2 days ago. Okay? 2E, 3B Sentry AWACS off Lebanon with transponders switched off, and the aircrafts reappear a few minutes after the bloody airstrikes on Beirut. There is no coincidence the U.S. helps Israel bombing Lebanon on a daily basis. The reason why they don't admit it is because they know Israel systematically kills civilians during their airstrikes. Is this the Democratic Party? This is the Uniparty. If you think that America is going to change trajectory on its foreign policy because a Democrat is in charge or a Republican is in charge, you're out of your fucking mind. And yeah, here, add insult to injury. A photo of Netanyahu giving the order to strike Beirut tonight from New York, destroying several apartment buildings, ordering U.S.-funded war crimes from U.S. soil right after giving a speech to the United Nations about how Israel yearns for peace. Like, he is, like, Benjamin Netanyahu is almost like an Osama bin Laden-like figure in terms of, like, destroying or showing to the world, like, the ways in which the international rule-based order is a complete lie. There is no bigger flex. There is no bigger demonstration of this lie than that. You're on American soil. You're using American weapons. You're using American targeting systems, American surveillance to drop American munitions on a sovereign nation in the midst of the United Nations meetings happening where you delivered a speech about how you yearn for freedom. Okay? That's it. When America says, oh my God, how are they doing this? What are we supposed to do? We're just trying to stop Israel from behaving this way. It's like, dude, you're not. You're not trying to stop Israel from behaving this way. You love it. You love the death and destruction. You fund it. You facilitate it. You support it. You give the fucking weapons. You give the surveillance to Israel. Okay? And you give the protective shield of expending your own personal capital as the global hegemonic superpower on the main stage when you defend Israel on a regular basis at the Security Council. You defend Israel on the General Assembly. There is no clear indication that things cannot continue the way that they have, especially with America on its last leg, okay? On its last leg, funding and facilitating this obvious genocide.
The word from Prime Minister Netanyahu's office in Jerusalem is that he will head back to Israel tonight as we are watching images of absolute
you even
catastrophic.
Pro-America, bro? I am, dude. I don't think you are, though, because being pro-Israel does not mean you're a pro-America. I would say that my commentary on this is more pro-America than like 99% of our politicians, okay? I don't think that we should allow a sovereign nation, right, a foreign nation, to just engage in bloody hell, in death and destruction, funded by our taxpayer dollars. Okay. I don't think that that is appropriate. I think that that is unimaginably un-American. Okay. If there is any sort of like principle behind like being an American and wanting America to be the world police and be the good guys in every story, then this demonstrates that we are the bad guys in this fucking story. Okay. This is precisely the reason why there are people in the fucking State Department that don't even agree with the Biden camp and Anthony Blinken and the way that they are continuing on giving Israel free rein to behave in the ways that it is. Okay? Because they also recognize that obviously this is diminishing America's soft power capabilities. It's cooked. The world stage is cooked. All of the organs of the international organs of justice that you normally could use tirelessly against your foreign adversaries to get them to fucking do the right thing or whatever and apply like, you know, deploy sanctions packages or whatever. All of that is cast aside in this circumstance because everyone goes, the fuck do you mean you hate Russia? The fuck do you mean? What do you mean that Russia is doing wrong things here? Look at what you're fucking doing in Gaza. Look at what you're doing in Beirut. That's it. And for a lot of people, that's how they see it. All of a sudden, like I keep repeating over and over again, 800 military bases around the world will look like 800 military occupations around the world if America's soft power capabilities go away. It no longer will be a military partnership and a firm commitment and an allegiance to the United States of America in terms of keeping global security. It all of a sudden becomes an active invasion, okay? And America, no other country, as a matter of fact, and certainly not the United States of America, has the power to conduct 800 different invasions in the same fucking time, at the same time, okay? This is why America's soft power capabilities actually help its military might, okay? Do you understand, Angry Panda? Probably not. Got to protect national interests. I just described to you from a pro-State Department, pro-America position why allowing Israel to reign fucking bloody terror in the region is genuinely diminishing America's national interest on the global stage. So you're wrong. You just said that because that's a thing you've heard. You've never actually analyzed what that means. You've never actually thought about what that means. Because if you had actually put some thought into it, you would recognize that America's undying loyalty to the state of Israel, an apartheid state that is currently actively committing genocide and has started a new front in another sovereign nation in its NSEG, and the way that it's analyzed from the rest of the fucking world, including our Western European allies. This is even more significant than just like the global South. The global South has always had a distaste for American empire for obvious reasons. But now you even have Western European allegiances on shaky ground. If you don't think that this is a genuinely devastating misstep, you just got to wait till Trump says it, and then you'll repeat it. When Trump goes around and says, they ruined our partnerships. They said I was bad. They said the world laughed at me, but the world laughed at them. Now look, England is going against our wills. They're not even giving money to Israel. They're not giving weapons to Israel. And then you'll repeat it, and you'll be like, hell yeah, he's right. Peaceful dove, baby. Yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
Destruction unfold from the site of the blast. That if you look at just behind me, you may be able to see the haze in the distance. That is the smoke still rising, the smoke and dust still rising from that scene after a series of blasts. We felt and heard one of them today, Kira. It was without a doubt, the largest and most powerful blast we have felt this week. And this will mark the 5th strike on Dahia, the southern suburb of Beirut, the Hezbollah stronghold, the 5th strike just this week. And as you reported, we understand, according to the IDF, that the target was Hassan Nasrallah, the Secretary General of Hezbollah. But you look at the devastation there, and we are talking about several buildings that have been severely damaged, flattened according to reports. And so we are talking about scores of casualties. Right now, we're waiting for word. I've reached out to the health ministry here, and we're waiting to get the initial report. But I can tell you, Kira, in our time that we've spent in Dahia, it is a densely populated area, not only with shops, but also homes. And the fact that you have several buildings that have been absolutely destroyed, we can anticipate that the numbers will be quite high. Right now, as you mentioned, we don't know if Nasrallah is alive or dead. Israel saying that they targeted him.
Every member of Hezbollah, ISIS, and the Taliban deserve death. They rape, pillage, and suppress. Israel deserves protection. That's cool. It's kind of interesting that you just like mentioned Hezbollah alongside ISIS and the Taliban, right? You said that you're issuing the death penalty on all of them. And then the reasoning that you mentioned for why they are worthy of the death penalty, okay, you did not suspiciously mention Israel, okay? But the reasons that you mentioned as to why they'd all deserve the death penalty are things that Israel also does, things that Israel has actually systematized, serialized, does on a regular fucking basis in broad fucking daylight with full-blown American support. So that's really interesting that you have this dynamic where you're like, well, Hezbollah deserves death. They rape, they pillage, and suppress. When in fact, one, Hezbollah and ISIS are nowhere near comparable. As a matter of fact, ISIS and Israel are significantly closer in both utilizing and bastardizing religion as a way to fucking justify their actions, and also destroying fucking cultural monuments, cultural world artifacts on a regular fucking basis, and doing unlimited acts of terror. Okay? In terms of like, this similarity between Hezbollah, ISIS, and the Taliban, it just demonstrates that you think, oh, they're Muslims, so they're the same. When in fact, if you look at the situation, Israel is infinitely closer to ISIS and has actually aligned with ISIS in Syria, as a matter of fact, has treated ISIS fighters, given them medical help. Israel deserves protection. No innocents deserve death. And killing terrorist leadership never really does anything. They're not competent leaders. Therefore, they're always easily replaced. It's a tough situation. It's not a tough situation. Okay? It is as close to black and white as you can get. Yes, Israel armed al-Nusra. Israel gave medical treatment to ISIS fighters. The idea that it's actually, Hamas or Hezbollah that is closest to ISIS is fucking ridiculous. You just think, oh, they're all Muslims, so they're the same.
There's been no confirmation from Hezbollah that he was even in that area, and so we'll have to wait for word on that. Kira.
And clearly, Mick, we're getting, there's other foreign news agencies like, the Saudi press is reporting that Nasrallah has not been killed, but still we don't have any confirmation. And there aren't any media outlets here in the U.S. reporting whether he was killed or not. But if indeed he was, how could this change just the dynamic of the widening war that we've been witnessing? There's been tremendous concern that this could just keep getting worse and worse. If indeed he's been taken out, how can that impact what we're seeing now in the Middle East?
So, Kira, this would be a substantial blow to Hezbollah. Nasrallah has been the Secretary General since 1992 and is revered by that organization. So it would mark, of course, a substantial escalation going in the opposite direction of where the U.S. had hoped to go with a 21-day ceasefire. And it really does put an emphasis that is not where Israel intends to go with this conflict in Lebanon. It's important to point out that most of the facilities of Hezbollah are subterranean, so they build stuff under civilian areas to try to essentially protect themselves. Though there might have been multiple.
From New York Times 4 minutes ago, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has called an emergency meeting of the Supreme National Security Council at his home compound, according to Iranian officials with knowledge of the meeting. They said the meeting was in response to Israel's strike in Beirut that targeted the leader of Hezbollah, Hasan Nasrallah. Like, just so you understand, it would be what Israel did to the principal negotiator in the ceasefire agreement would be like if Iran was able to successfully blow up, was able to successfully explode the fucking hotel room that Benjamin Netanyahu is in, okay, in the United States of American soil. And of course, that's like unimaginable. That would never happen. And what they're doing here, what they're justifying here is like if, once again, like Iran blew up Israeli politicians, like exploded Israeli politicians with a missile strike in the middle of fucking Tel Aviv, or again, in the middle of New York, as a matter of fact.
Bombs. The first to clear out the buildings, and then the second to actually penetrate to the subterranean space and potentially take out Nasrallah. I think it will have to wait a while to see if he was actually killed in this. Early reports are likely not accurate and not informed. I don't know that anybody's actually gotten down to see.
Where the fuck is the rest of the Arab world? Bro, they have nothing, okay? They have nothing. One, in terms of like Hezbollah, in terms of, Iran, a lot of the other fucking Arab countries don't like either of these parties anyway. They don't like Hezbollah. They don't like, and they certainly do not like Iran regardless. We're talking about the governance structures in all of these Arab nations, okay? So that's number one. Number two, they have fucking fat military contracts with the United States of America. Their job, especially if you're talking about like the Gulf regions, the Gulf states, their job is to basically maintain a critical posture against Israel so that they don't get fucking assassinated by their own population. That's it. Their job simply is to sit back and be like, Israel, don't do that. That's really messed up, while they get weapons contracts from the United States of America and continue dealing with Israel in the exact same fucking ways that they dealt with Israel, because what the fuck are they supposed to do? They got nothing anyway. Their entire military is American gear, okay? Their entire surveillance capabilities come from the United States of America. Their targeting systems come from the United States of America. They got nothing. They are all hollowed out vassal states. So obviously, in terms of the governance structure in these countries, their entire purpose is to just make sure that their population does not fucking rise up against them and overthrow them in a bloody coup or something, because, they go, enough is enough. What you're doing is unacceptable. That's it. That's their entire job. Okay. And if you look at like Lebanon, or if you look at fucking Jordan, for example, these are direct like byproducts of Western colonialism. These are vestiges of Western colonialism. These are not like countries that were well defined. It was literally fucking places that they carved out and specifically gave, in the case of Lebanon, to a very diverse, multi-ethnic and multi-religious people that were living there, okay? And in the case of Jordan, they just like handed it off to fucking, the British Empire, basically. They're all, you might as well analyze Lebanon, and especially like Lebanon, and also especially Jordan, as simply holding grounds until Israel takes it over, okay? That's it. Like, from the eyes of Western colonialists, the way they analyze it is just like, one day Israel will take it all, and then we'll have true peace, okay? Nasrallah is an evil piece of shit, so I won't shed any tears if he's dead, but fucking hell, Israel is just doing continuous terrorist attacks, and we're aiding and abetting them to the fullest extent. Bibi and Biden both belong in The Hague. Yeah, it's just like, okay, like, the thing I don't understand is people say this stuff, but they don't recognize that, like, this right here is the justification that Israel is using. So I don't know why you're so mad at, like, Benjamin Netanyahu and also Joseph Robinette Brandon and say that they belong in The Hague. Because when you say, like, yeah, Hassan Nasrallah is an evil piece of shit, I hope he's dead, all you've done is basically give legitimacy, give an air of credence to why Israel targeted this fucking crowded neighborhood in Beirut. Okay? That's it. Like, you, without recognizing it, are basically reasserting the Israeli position. That's all you have done. Here is N12 News. N12 News is Dana Weiss. Israeli official says Israel is going to war. And we already covered this, but yeah, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has called an emergency meeting of the Supreme National Security Council. As far as we know, currently, we do not know if Hassan Nasrallah is dead. There is no confirmation thus far from the Hezbollah side. There's only confirmation, as a matter of fact, from the Israeli side. And I will wait, as always, to hear from the axis of resistance or any kind of like official statement from their side to get this actual confirmation on whether or not it was correct. Jeremy Scales says, there's intense focus on the fate of Nasrallah right now. These were massive American bombs Israel dropped on a densely populated residential area in Beirut, and we still have no sense of how many people died. It's going to be a very large number. The U.S. in multiple ways has enabled Israel to promote a doctrine that Israel is allowed to kill as many civilians with U.S. weapons as it wishes, with impunity in the name of self-defense, in air quotes, or killing the terrorists, in air quotes. That's it. Axis of resistance, yes. Axis of resistance is like Hezbollah, Ansar Allah, all of the fucking regional actors, whether they are standing paramilitaries or complete fucking, nation states with their own actual standing militaries that are aligned against Western imperialism in the region. You know? Allowing the people who desire to kill terrorists to define what a terrorist means is like letting a rapist define consent. Yeah, that's actually a good take. You're right about that. Anyway. Good and evil child terminology. Yeah, it's just like, it's very, very frustrating. Israel confirms he's dead. Yes, but Israel confirms fucking Yahya Sinwar is dead every other week, okay? Like, it doesn't, it's until there is like confirmation from the other side, it doesn't fucking mean anything. Once again, this is the Iranian embassy saying, once again, the Israeli regime is committing a bloody massacre targeting densely populated residential neighborhoods, issuing false justifications in an attempt to cover up its brutal crime and cover the skies with domes. There is no doubt that this reprehensible crime and reckless behavior represents a serious escalation that changes the rules of the game and that its perpetrator will be punished appropriately and disciplined. Iran says this shit on a daily basis, but like, let's be real. They are, they're incredibly restrained, almost to a fucking fault at this point. If Israel is never going to respond, Israel is never going to respond to diplomacy. They have demonstrated that time and time again. They see diplomacy as weakness. They see it as cowardice. They see it as like a go-ahead to do more and more violence. So yeah. But once again, IDF spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari says it's a precise strike on a central headquarters of Hezbollah, which was intentionally built under residential buildings in Beirut in order to use them as human shields. That's interesting. IDF headquarters in Tel Aviv is walking distance to a hospital, markets, theaters, etc. Okay? But you obviously don't consider that to be a fucking, human shield situation. That's it. That's it. That's literally it. A precise targeting of like the Israeli Knesset or the IDF headquarters would not be considered a normal, justifiable self-retaliation of a sovereign nation demonstrating its sovereignty, right? No. It's actually a really good point. I've talked about this many times over. It doesn't even matter to most people. That's the problem. That's why I don't even bring it up, because people don't fucking care. Because a lot of this attitude revolves around might is right. Okay, that's it. That's it. Might is right. Israel has the capabilities to do this. Israel can do this. No, Israel's enemies cannot, and that's it. And not only does it not matter if they actually successfully assassinated Hassan Nasrallah, okay, it doesn't fucking matter. We don't know if that actually happened, but even if it did, it still doesn't matter. It doesn't change the dynamic, okay? It doesn't change the mindset of people that watch their fucking families ripped apart, that have to literally seek through the rubble to see if their fucking baby in a cradle is still there, okay? Like those people are still going to hate Israel. Do you understand? Like assassinating or decapitating the leadership does not change the dynamic at all. Someone else will take their place because ultimately this is still a war of emancipation for many people. Okay. Oh.
With the devastation and the damage that has been done.
All right. And of course, as we try and work to confirm if indeed Nasrallah is dead or alive, I'm assuming we could probably...
like, this is precisely the reason why I don't make the fucking argument. I mean, the dynamic is a little different in like a place like Russia, right? The dynamic is a little different because there's like unitary executive on principle. It's just like one singular force that has a lot of control over what's going on, right? The ambitions of one man can lead entire armies. In the case for like Russia, for example. Having said that, however, I don't make the same argument for fucking Benjamin Netanyahu. It's not like if Benjamin Netanyahu was assassinated that Israel would stop. That's why I make the argument that America has to fucking use its levers of control in this circumstance to put Israel, to rein in Israel. Okay, to put Israel in its place, to tell them to fucking dial it back. Because without that level of control, without that lever of power, it doesn't matter. If Benjamin Netanyahu is dead, there's going to be another fucking freak that takes his place. What has to happen is the large partner in this coalition telling them to dial it the fuck back. That's it. Joseph33, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. You really think Putin's death would just stop Russia? Fuck Putin. I think Putin's death would not stop the Russian invasion of Ukraine. It would just like destroy Russia because Russia is so single-handedly controlled by an individual. Like there is no alternative. And for so long that it would collapse Russia in its entirety. It would be devastating. It would be like post dissolution of USSR one more time. It would literally be the second, like, you know, all the child prostitution rates and stuff that people love to point to in the dissolution of the USSR in the aftermath of what happened in the Cold War. It would be like that. I don't think so, to be honest. There is no alternative mechanism in place. There's not even a fucking mechanism of like, of what happens in the aftermath of Putin's demise, whether untimely or, you know, likely demise as a consequence of old age. Anyway, I don't know why we're talking about Putin. It doesn't fucking matter, but it's just. Yeah. This person says, I really need someone to explain to me how bombing 6 tower blocks in Beirut is different from bombing the Twin Towers. Like how? New Israeli defense officials estimate that some 300 people were killed in the Israeli strike on Beirut, according to Haaretz. Nice. So it's probably more than that. Like, think about it. If they killed 300 civilians and got Hassan Nasrallah, that's a 300 to 1. Is that justifiable? I don't think so.